But
want to be this person that gives back to your community. I really admire that. And I'm so happy to have you on the show today to just teach us about your experiences and what really goes into activism. So I want to thank you for your commitment to the community and to trying to better things around us.
I appreciate that, sister. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. So look, Mr. Coleman, we like to break it down on this show. What is exactly activism? What is it that you do in the simplest form? Break that down for us.
In a simplistic form, there are two types of people, or three, that wake up every morning. Some wake up to go along to get along, just, make it through the day, make it through their work week and their, the ritual off-day celebrations.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are those that get up that are hell-bent on feeding off of the masses, deceiving the masses, robbing the masses, enslaving the masses, profiting off the masses. And then there are those that wake up that say that that they're going to be that agent, while they're breathing. They're going to be the person that, attempts to right the wrongs individually and link up with like-minded spirits to have a more collective blow. So in this simplistic form, it's simply righting the wrongs, being an elixir for the ills of society, and combating those that are hell-bent on destruction.
Now, I like to say I have pretty good discernment, but when I look at you and when I see some of your work and when I see you talking on film, I can tell you're a good guy, but it's this energy about you that's like, don't play with me. Don't play with me. Like, I don't know what to call it. It's this force that you have. And that reminds me of me. You're so passionate that it may come off as like aggressiveness, but it's just your passion. But I love that. I can see that about you. You are serious about what you're doing. You believe in what you're doing. It means something to you. And when things don't work how they should, it affects you. I can tell. Am I right in that assessment?
Well, yes. We all can't be alike, but I wish there was more people that were as passionate about the liberation and salvation and upliftment of their people. Hell, I'm a coach. Football is one of my primary sports. Track as well, but my point, I was going to put an analogy out there, but it was going to be false, because even when you're in the lead, you don't sit back and you don't cruise. So that's not how we do it. But my point is, collectively, we kind of cruising, like everything is just cool. We're not passionate enough. We're not engaged enough collectively. Of course, there are, pockets of engagement, individuals that are grouped together, but I mean, hell, we haven't even been paid reparations for slavery, which is not a pipe dream. We know this to be true with some examples that have been taking place across the country now, but, there has been no restoration, no retribution, no payment of services rendered. We cry about various inequities and equalities, but and I know we'll have time to get to this, but my thing is, in the words of one of my mentors and like a father figure, Ambassador Dr. Joseph Beasley, who's 84 and gets around more than damn near anybody. Dr. Beasley say he wake up every morning pissed off. Wakes up every morning pissed off. Now he's got children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, but he wakes up every morning pissed off because the collective nature of his people is that we are suffering. And he is a global activist, so he looks at it from also as the majority that we truly are on this globe. Why in the hell are we still suffering? So yeah, I do get misconstrued, I get mislabeled. But man, I'm father of a 27-year-old man, a 15-year-old son, my husband. I ain't got time to really play around. 47 years of age. So I've learned years ago to put the thoughts of those who feel negatively about me so far behind me that they miss me with it.
So it sounds like you just tired. You want things to get better. And that reminds me of when they say it's two groups of Black people. It's I hate to say it, the N-words and the brown people. And to me, it's like it's the woke people and it's people that aren't woke. It's a group of us that get it, and we know the things that we should be having, and we want them now. And it's some people that just keep living under this bliss of ignorance that don't really understand the things that are going on and the things that we should be fighting for and working for. So the reason I brought that up is because a lot of people who feel just like you do, it's like in all of us who want to see Black people be in a better position. We just get tired, we just get tired.
We're in a special era. I mean, we're in an era I like to call the modern day Reconstruction era. We've got monuments and statues that are crumbling into the seas, but we don't have enough tweaking of the statutes as far as the law is concerned. We have a large number of folks that are politically engaged, even taking seats, and they don't fit the normal stereotype. I like to refer to that as the Trojan horse theory. I rock with folks that say, abolish the system. I rock with folks that say gut it from the inside out. I rock with all type of folks. I rock with folks that you can make it better. Listen, our youngsters, I like to refer to them as Thundercats. The Thundercats ain't playing the radio. Like they in the words of the minister, they're a group that doesn't have time for compromising talk because the information is out there so readily, you can't bamboozle them as long as you might have bamboozled the older generation. With that fearlessness comes a higher level of responsibility for their elders, for their parents, which is our generation I'm speaking about. And with that also comes a responsibility for our elders. We're in a very unique intergenerational or multi-generational struggle of understanding. And I think any initiative or any cause, there is fuel being thrown on it to separate us. Right now, we need the wisdom of the Bibles of the elders. Right now, we need the positioning that folks like myself and stuff are in. And we also need, the legwork from the Thundercat. I'm not so doom and gloom about where we're at right now. I do see agents of distraction that have been implemented. Number one, this pandemic, I think, is a huge derailment from what we were accomplishing in a rapid motion back in the summer of 2020. We can touch on this later as well. Obvious there's a biological attack, but I am one that truly that believe in the non-vaccination. I have family members who have taken it, so I mean, I would say to each their own. I'll say that respectively, but you're speaking to one who me and my family, my immediate family, ever since December of 2019, damn near 3 months before it even touched the United States, we have been on a everyday, 7-day-a-week regimen immune boosting. Now I know that's the talk in some circles, not in mainstream media, but before this thing even touched the United States. And I'm living proof, my family is living proof of what one, if your immune system is strengthened, we are in the category as one that does not have any kind of pre-existing condition. So I know that plays a factor, but it's just extremely troubling that the only treatment, not even a prevention, is the Project Warp Speed vaccination up under President Trump. There's no mention of the boosting of one's immune system. So that has become a major distraction because it's really put the vaccinated against the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
You know,
but now they're gonna take it as far as you can't do this and you can't do that if you're not vaccinated. So what you gonna do then?
We got so much shit, man, that's causing a divide in the Black community at a time when, again, we were rewriting laws. People were being, institutions and organizations and departments were being held accountable. Now here in Georgia, I mean, bills have been passed, signed by Governor Kemp, that have strengthened the police, that have allowed the police to even sue organizations like mine, Save Ourselves and others. You know, there's just some agents that have been injected into society, and I see the losing of steam from the summer of 2020. It's not all lost, but that's again from some of my no nonsense attitude. I've been around for almost 16 years now in this movement. Started up under some very high people, and I've seen a lot. The social justice, civil rights movement is some of the most nauseating, head-banging, sickening circles that you can be in. You got the holy trinity of evil at times that consist of reverends, attorneys, and politicians. I work with those on a daily basis, so that's another reason why, you know, I'm no nonsense sometimes, because it bothers me to see families get used as soapboxes. It bothers me to be in the circle of those who are truly the downtrodden, the least of these, and then to be in a circle of your grass top, high on the hog eating Negroes, and balancing that that arena. So there's a number of reasons why I wear my no nonsense. I think you said using it as tired, not really tired physically, but probably some of that too. But I just been around and seasoned enough and still have, you know, a lot to learn, where I don't want to bullshit or sugarcoat or mislead or misguide the younger generation, because there's a lot of younger Thundercats, I like to call them again, that give me a lot of props and stuff. And so I really appreciate being that bridge right now of generations.
Now, you said so much there, I don't even know which way I want to go, because there's so many things we could talk about. I didn't give you the proper introduction when you first came on. You have an organization called Save Ourselves. You work with families like the Breonna Taylor family, Kendrick Johnson family, Trayvon Martin. So you really have yourself out there in these big cases, and even some cases of things people we don't know. I mean, you just do different things. So I guess I want to go back
to Breonna Taylor, though. I'm gonna give respect where respect's due. My sister, man, my homie of 15 years, Tamika Mallory. She's been leading that charge. Sister from New York on Breonna. I have assisted, did assist on the 1-year anniversary and met the family and everything. But that sister's been leading the charge out there. And if it wasn't for her, unfortunately, Breonna Taylor wouldn't have got the national attention that it's received and receiving now.
Absolutely. And speaking of national attention, what do you think about everyone just blasting the media for not covering Black people who are missing? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, that sounds about white.
Right.
With sincere apologies to anybody who has suffered some type of random kidnapping, killing, tragedy, or whatever, you know, not belittling that. But when you compare it, I mean, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I mean, I honestly, every blue moon, I will be off of social media or news. Every blue moon. That's rare. And ironically, this last couple said she's murdered, I missed the coverage. And so the next day I'm seeing all of this coverage, and I was, you know, it took me a minute, you know, to find out that this is an average, ordinary, everyday citizen. I thought she was, I don't know what she, I know what she was from the coverage that she was receiving. But that's just one out of a million. It's the value of Black life versus the value of Caucasian life.
And it's always the white woman that they will, you know, put up there and have a media storm about, because their life has always meant more than anybody else's.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but certain Caucasians in this day and age, they're not stupid. Hell, Time Magazine and others wrote about it years ago. The census, you know, and its tardiness on coming out speaks about it. Caucasian numbers are dwindling. Hell, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing told you that a long time ago. This is not me trying to be evil in any type of way, but I must admit the irony is overflowing when you think about the people responsible for colonizing the globe are true minorities of that globe, but now in their country, in our country, where they had a stakehold on everything, that their numbers are dwindling, and the persons who were their victims are really the cause of their possible genetic annihilation. I don't know how much ironicness you need when it comes to the former slave now threatening the genetic annihilation of the slave master. That's a sick and twisted, sadistic plot. But that's where
it's no sicker than people saying that a plot is on us to lower our numbers because of that fact right there.
Well, true that. And when I say a sick, sadistic plot, I'm kind of poking fun at some of my Christian brothers and sisters, because it's righteousness is what it is. And there are certain Caucasians that know this. You know, a lot of folks talk about, you know, these heartbeat bills and these abortion, you know, laws with Texas just, you know, whether you're raped or incest, and you know, me being a man, I'm cautious on my comments as it relates to women and their reproductive system. But I will say this: certain white folks ain't stupid. These numbers, these heartbeat bills are a result of desperation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but when folks see that they are facing genetic annihilation, they can't keep the babies that are raped from products of rape and incest. White folks are trying to save their numbers. That's another sadistically brilliant type of position. We got to know what we're truly up against if we plan on winning. We got to know the levels that these people will go. So right now we're in a modern day deconstruction era. White folks' statues and their heroes are being crumbled or removed or replaced. They're frantically trying to save every single seed that they possibly have. They see that this world is becoming more dark, or let me rephrase, that this nation is becoming more dark. And they see that their time is nearing. And that's not to spook any of my white brothers and sisters, but there's an old saying that you have to pay for what you owe. And we are in the payment collection phase, I think.
It's been that. It's been that. I mean, I have my own conversation with God saying, you know, I just got to know about this. Something gotta happen.
Well, you know, of all the Black Lives Matter, and I can't stand that particular chant. I understand why it's said, but I think it's I've always thought chanting Black Lives Matter is very subservient. It's very it belittles who we are as a people. I know why we do it, but who in the hell are we screaming our life matters to? Because without Black life, there would absolutely be no human life without our life. So I think, you know, for the hundreds of thousands of white folks or Caucasians that were, you know, joining us, sometimes leading the charge, there are some unpaid promises from some Fortune 500 companies for those that were pledging money during this uprising. Some of us got distracted by cute, colorful murals on the concrete instead of some black and white ink as far as legislation. Reparations for slavery is an absolute priority.
Yes.
And so for all of the Caucasians that were out here this past summer, chanting, pumping your fist and feeling good about yourselves, there has to be reparations for slavery legislation. I know the HR 40 is kind of being tough, but just like the George Floyd police and justice and policing bill, we don't need no fluff, no puff. We need executive orders. We need ink to the paper right now. And I would just like to, I guess that whole little spiel is advocating for some of that same summer 2020 energy to come back now, especially when we got an administration that's supposed to be so friendly towards us.
Well, I'm glad you brought up, because two things here. The day I gotta know this, the day you woke up and you read that, well, I was gonna say president, but then that doesn't even feel right. When you heard that Joe Biden, okay, the president of the United States, signed an executive order.
Don't give it to him now. He's president now. You got to give it to him.
Okay, yeah, he's president, all right, and a long list of races have been in that seat, but so you're right, he is the president. That is fitting. President Joe Biden. When you woke up and saw one of his first things he did, and when he took office, is he signed an executive orders on advancing equity, justice, and opportunity for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. What was the thoughts that came across your mind?
Great for them. Shame on us. Once again, we've been butt screwed by the Democrats, and we're steady pointing fingers at Republicans. I could give a damn what political party you belong to, whether you Pyru or you GD. I mean, that's the equivalent to the Republican Party and the Democratic Party to me. The gangs, the powerful groups of individuals with influence that destroy lives and dictate them. Just like the gay community, right? Which is a community that consists of a lot of various nationalities, right? The Black community points fingers at the gay community gets this. Or we point fingers not saying you get. That the Asian community gets this. Well, part of the effing reason is because they're consolidated with their political strategy. Part of the reason is they don't yield or waver in certain areas when it comes time for election season. I know there are some of my people who say, oh man, screw them elections. Well, I come from the teachings of the original Black Panther Party and the Black Power movement. All politics is local. Hell, here in South Fulton, you know, that's we're living proof of that, and so are some other areas. But that's point is, local control can combat foolishness going on from any other kind of hierarchy. So everything is political. For those folks, even some of my friends, I don't get involved in politics. When you wake up, you're involved in politics.
Right.
You know, it's plain and simple. So I looked at it as just another slap in the face to Black folks because of our lack of cohesiveness and political power, and continue to get pimped by one particular party.
Now, you made a video a couple of months ago, and I just want you to break it down because this got something to do with what you just said. You were talking about house Negroes, sir. House Negroes. And you said that Caucasian people have benefited from the work that our ancestors have put in. So I want you to explain that further because that is so important, what you said in that video that I saw.
House Negroes and white folk?
Yeah, you were just explaining that they benefit off the backs of our ancestors and the work that they done. They capitalize off of that.
Oh, I mean, you know, it's no secret that America is a superpower of superpowers because of the positioning that slavery, human trafficking, put it amongst the world. Specifically speaking, with our ancestors, that you take the, like my girl Kimberly Latrice Jones says, you got the agricultural industry in the South and the textile industry in the North. You can't get any clearer than that, from the fields to the factories. I mean, this is how America built its wealth. And not only, and so, you know, when you always hear that, well, that was so long ago, or like, you know, I have nothing to do with that. Well, we're speaking collective. And collectively, there are so many trusts and IRAs and CDs and other monetary accounts that certain Caucasians have just been stacking for generations. And that's just monetary.
But then, you know, you always have those few that be like, my whole family poor. But they still benefit. I don't care if you're so-called poor or not. Just having the white skin, you have benefited.
Well, there's a mentioning, there's a shout out to them too in the so-called national anthem. You know, it calls them the hirelings, you know, the poor white folks, the indentured servants, you know, who are so twisted and mentally spun that those particular Caucasians should be fighting along with brothers and sisters that look like us, because your Caucasian brethren could they give a little bit more about you than us. You know, but they are still mentioned in the so-called national anthem along with us in their death for basically being treasonous for fighting against this country. So
aren't you the one who's against you think we should get rid of the national anthem? It wasn't that you who said that?
Oh, we need to take a highlighter through the Constitution. We need to take a red pen through the Bill of Rights. Every historical document that the so-called founding fathers are responsible for erecting need tweaking. Toss that bullshit national anthem out the window, and pay what you owe, which is reparations for slavery. We do those things. Then we got to start on the repair of race relations. I know some folks out there think that's crazy talk. Please do your research. There are other nations that have abolished their constitution that are currently sitting down rewriting it. How can you have
when the government go ahead.
And justice for all, when the very documents that govern the way the country runs were erected by white men only? Say that one more time. White men only. Now, we've had amendments to come and this and that, but we need to amend the amendments. Not even women of any hue were considered in writing this. And hell, when the Constitution, as many know, was first done on hemp paper, we were considered 3/5 of a human. Of course, they tweaked that out now. But you can't have these documents that still exist and govern these monuments. And I know a lot of keep bringing these monuments up. These monuments are psychological warfare. They're what children see. They're what young folks see. You know, this whole country has been built on a fallacy. And until you truly dig that root out, we can do all of this superficial things that we need to do in addition to digging the root. Because without the root, we're going to be right back in the same damn spinning circle.
Well, let me ask you this question, because I was eavesdropping on a conversation that somebody was having next to me, and they were talking about issues like this. And one person said, well, you know, give it time. And then the other person was saying, why is it when it comes to Black people, do people always say, give it time? Okay, other people can just get theirs now. They can work right now to get what's theirs. Do you feel like when you out here on the streets, does it seem like it's more Black people that get that we're supposed to be getting more than it is people who don't get it? When in your experience and what you do being on the front lines with people?
Well, listen, Kara, one thing, let me start. Like, I really appreciate you, you said that's the format of giving folks their flowers. I'm in a unique position here because sometimes I've got a lot of good connects. I've got a lot of good comrades, some that would be considered, celebrities and things of that nature, and others that you never know their initials. But there's only a very small few, and I'm in a good vantage point to say this accurately, that are really true about what the hell they talking about and how they move. There are some that are great deceivers. And for whatever, I ain't gonna say for whatever, for that reason of them being great deceivers, many people flock to folks who could give two shits about you for real.
I just said that the other day.
And then you'll give the other individual a hard time. Or you'll stab their back, or you'll cut their throat, or you'll talk some shit.
Marcus, have you been reading my posts? I literally just said that.
No, ma'am. I mean, that's the sad part of it, that this is discovered by folks who have good hearts and good spirits. And there's been so many times I've had my mic cut off a couple times. I know I've been omitted from certain programs when I sure should be on them. Now, when I say I sure should be on them, let me make sure I'm clear. When there's initiatives or work that surround what I'm doing, or even specifically what I'm doing, that's what I mean by I should have been on the programs. But
I'm gonna be honest with you, Mr. Coleman. I feel like I know you, because I don't know. I see this frustration in you, but I freaking get it. Because I feel like it's a small group of people who are the same. Yeah. I'm telling you, we get it.
Yeah. But they say heavy as a head holds a crown simply being responsibility. That's why I take it, very serious, being a voice for the voiceless out here. Another reason why I just, I really infiltrated a certain group, and I use that term. I just was looking for like minds and spirits. I wanted to be a part of a group that would help prevent what happened to me to happen to any other young man or woman. Over 20 years ago, right, like 21 years ago, almost my early 20s, mid 20s. I spent 30 months in federal prison for a crime I didn't commit. 13 of those 30 months was in solitary confinement.
Oh my God.
I came home, and less than a year and a half is when I started working for Reverend Al Sharpton and became the founder and former president for Atlanta National Action Network. Then became responsible for the acquisition of the Southeastern Regional Headquarters in West End. The only president or founder, person in leadership to ever, even to this day, have a criminal background. But I brought all my papers to Reverend Sharpton. Just real spit. Never met the man before, talked to him once on the phone, and laid everything out in front of him and showed him how I'd been railroaded. And I was appointed. My life's calling started prior to that. Long story, whatever questions you have, I don't have a problem with it. But my point I'm trying to make is, once getting in there up under Sharpton and entering this game at a high level, coming from solitary to national exposure, it was weird. But let's just say, due to some creative differences after being up under Rev for several years, it behooved me to go about it my own avenue. There were some areas of concentration that I wanted to focus on, and people that I wanted to connect and collab with. And so that's how the birth of Save Ourselves started. But I've just seen a lot. I'm not one to hold my tongue, so there's a number of people out there that I'm sure are worried for whenever my tell-all publication comes out. But I just try to keep it pushing, man, and be a shoulder for these families and a true voice that doesn't sell them out once the camera goes off.
You just said a mouthful there. I mean, I tell people I worked in, I don't know, well, I don't know if you know my bio, but I worked in television for a while now, over 15 years. And I tell people a lot of, it's always the person that you really like. Well, not all the times, but it's a few people that you really like, and those will be the rudest, meanest people that you'll ever meet, Sometimes it's a person that you don't even know would be that nice, that's that nice, That's why I tell people all the time to use your discernment, because right now it's a spiritual war as well. And you're going to have people that look just like you who are your enemy. And it's on both sides. And I had a guest that tried to tell me, no, we just got to speak positive about each other. I can be the most positive person that anybody can know, but we got to be realistic. Because when we think about our heroes and our human saviors that have been here, they've all been assassinated by people who look like them. So, wow, we just lost a guest. Oh, no. Well, unfortunately, we're no stranger to this. We're going to try to get him right back, guys. So just hold up with us. Try to connect right now with Mr. Coleman.
It's like,
okay. Boom, there he is.
We're back. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, that's okay. All right. So just to get back, yeah. So, I mean, I forgot what I was saying that darn fast, but it's just a lot going on. All I know, I wanted to get into the fact that you work with Trayvon Martin family, you work with Kendrick Johnson's family, you work with Jordan Davis, and I watched documentaries on all these people. I had Kendrick Johnson's mother on this program, and what I find crazy, I didn't even think about it, all these young guys were 17 years old. Okay. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Jordan was 17. Trayvon was 17. Is that not correct? Oh no, he's frozen.
We're good. We're back. We're back. I think I know what the problem is. We should be all right.
Okay. Did you hear what I asked you?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'll repeat it. What I was trying to bring up is the fact that you work with Jordan Davis, right?
Oh, yes, I heard those names. Yeah.
Okay, and Trayvon Martin and Kendrick Johnson. I had his mother on the show. But what I found is they have in common that they were all 17. I mean, yeah. And I know you're a father of 2 sons. How did their cases touch you?
Yeah, shout out to Mr. and Mrs. J. I'll start there with Kendrick. There are some meetings that are imperative, that are indispensable, that have not happened yet. So I cannot update any further from my position on Kendrick, other than, of course, we recently got the case reopened. I do know that they have a documentary that has come out, Finding Kendrick Johnson. But there's a meeting or two that has me a little, let's just say, disturbed with all the work and stuff put in on Kendrick. So I will, unfortunately, there is no update other than those that I've given you. Hopefully we'll be able to have an update on the progress of the reopening of the criminal investigation. That's where my focus is. So Jordan Davis, Trayvon Martin, they kind of happened back to back in Florida. Shout out to Brother Davis, the father of Jordan Davis, and also his mother, Congresswoman Lucy McBath, went from working, I believe, for American Airlines, one of the airlines, to now straight Congress. I know Moms in Action, Moms Demand Action. I might be mispronouncing that. Forgive me. I know that was an organization that she was very much a part of before she took political office. But also to Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon, who actually ran for county commissioner, I believe, and got very close. These, families, got the national exposure that many families want. That's another thing when you get into this helping families. You know, families sometimes go against families, or families go against the organizers or the advocates, or always the attorneys. But it's not all what it's cracked up to be. But yeah, they were all 17. They're all young Black boys. And each one of them was minding their own damn business.
Right.
You know, you always hear some things about wrong place, wrong time, wrong crowd, this and that. Hell, Jordan Davis was with his friends pulling up to the gas station.
Playing some hip hop music. It could have been anybody's 17-year-old.
Trayvon just got back from the store, and Kendrick was at school. Right. I mean, so, you know, now, I don't care if you're out there on the corner and something happened to you, it still deserves attention. But we must, you know, tell the truth that you can't put a label, you can't sprinkle dope, you can't, like Chris Rock said, you can't sprinkle crack at this crime scene. You know, you can't, you know, so yeah, being a man, Black man myself, being the father of a young Black man in a soon to be young man. I say all the time when I speak, you know, on behalf of the Johnsons, that Kendrick is my son. He'd be around the same age. But I can't talk all doom and gloom. Kendrick's case is currently reopened, but it's 8+ years later. The killer of Jordan Davis, we won't even give his name any credit, who was convicted for attempted murder on the driver and front passenger initially, but not the murder of Jordan Davis, and then went to a second trial. And
yeah, because he tried to say that Jordan threatened him and he was trying to shoot him and all this stuff, and they left the gas station, went somewhere and got rid of the gun. He made this elaborate story.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they got justice. We know what happened with Trayvon and the other Joker.
I don't even know how Trayvon Zimmerman is off, because the police already knew he was calling up there all the time for no reason. He was already known to start calling as soon as the Black people moved there, because I heard it changed it to a low income housing or some kind of housing. More Black people moved in, and he was always keeping an eye on them. That's the reason he started a neighborhood watch and whatnot. And you hear clearly on the tape, stop chasing this young guy, and he continues to do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, that's when, you know, you get into the failing criminal justice systems, because the state of Florida, you know, failed Trayvon Martin.
Sanford, Florida for Trayvon Martin, Jacksonville, Florida for Jordan. And we all know the racist history behind Jacksonville. You can look that up.
Ain't no question. But, you know, I just want to make sure, because we're talking about some of the older cases, like, you know, I haven't spoken to her in a couple of weeks, but shout out to Monteria Robinson, the mother of Jamaria Robinson, gentleman shot 76 times by joint task force that involved federal agents. But the new DA here in Fulton County, Georgia, a couple of weeks ago said that she's going to present evidence to the district attorney. As I'm saying, as I'm giving a shout out to Monteria Robinson, I also want to make sure I'm clear, and she knows me well enough to know this. Be careful. Presentations to grand juries are oftentimes smokescreen for folks to duck up under their responsibility to prosecute the officers. So, you know, I'm glad that finally, after 4+ years, that she got that news. But we're still waiting. Like family of Jimmy Atkinson, the young brother that jumped from a window out of one apartment building, ran to another, hid in the closet, and then was drug out the closet with a point-blank gunshot to the face, dead. Folks like Oscar Kane, a brother who used to actually be out there with us years ago in the movement, then became homeless and was shot and killed at a homeless camp by an officer. You know, forgive me to those who I'm connected to, that I'm not running the name down, charge it to time and in my head, not my heart. But there are
Well,
a
that was gonna be
number.
my next question. Who are some faces and families that are going through it that we don't hear about? So,
Number of individuals. I mean, we know Ahmaud Arbery and his family now that tape has gone viral. We have why is his brother's name escaping me right now? That was killed in the Wendy's parking lot. Got so many names in my head
oh,
right
I
now.
know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name either.
It'll come to me. The one, that was shot in the back, and then they literally kicked him in his ass while he was on the ground. You got the family of George Floyd. I work closely with Attorney Crump, and I know he gets a bad rap sometimes. So we've named a couple of his cases already.
Yeah, a lot of people feel like he just for the money. I mean,
well, he is. No. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. He is. Attorney Crump is a civil attorney. Attorney Crump's only responsibility is to get the family money. That's the misconception. Now, I'm not just because he's a friend of mine. I don't want to act like I'm up here trying to just defend him. I'm defending if you're going to attack on the righteous reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Attorney Crump doesn't win nothing, right? Is the talk. You get involved with him, the states fail the victims. The states failed Michael Brown. The states failed Trayvon Martin. Now, I don't want to get into a pissing contest about what Crump has gotten for what monetary gains he's gotten for families, because a lot of times you've got families who aren't together. The mother and father aren't together anymore, and it's a split. That's a whole other messy. But all I'm saying about Crump is damn near 10 for 10 for his civil suits. Now, for those of you who think that's a superficial comment, you got three forms of retribution. If you want to take matters into your own hands, I'm not suggesting that, but that is on the table. Let the criminal justice system play itself out criminally and civil action. And we already know many times the criminal is getting slammed in our face. So families to receive monetary gain based on the injustices that have been inflicted on them, that is the way it goes. And I just think some people kind of let their emotions get in the way. So there's some criticisms that I have for my partners like Crump and others who are of that certain type of status. But all I can say is it's the wrong stick to hit him with to say he's just about the money, because he's a civil attorney who uses his influence uses his popularity to try to influence the criminal. Now, you got some civil attorneys out here who you'll never even see. They literally just backdoor getting the money. I at least appreciate the brother for lending his political weight and his media weight, because sometimes some of these families, they want their children or loved ones' name to be known. And sometimes you just know how to use folks for what they're for.
Absolutely. To hit on something you said, I just want to know, because I was living in New York at the time of the protests that were going on, and police were just everywhere in Harlem and at every protest trying to just make their presence be known. And you hear about these stories of activists that are killed and injured, but how real is the threat of being in danger for somebody like you?
Oh. I've had the pleasure or the honor, better way to put it, to be part of some monumental things, monumental victories, monumental fights.
Mm-hmm.
I pissed off a lot of people. So the threat is real. I'll tell you this. A lot of folks running around here talking about that they facing this and they facing that, and they getting all of these death threats. Listen, how we communicating right now and how your viewers are watching. Social media has brought on a whole nother beast with your little keyboard gangsters doing their little internet gangsters doing their little keyboard type buys. It's a difference. Don't get me wrong now. One has to weigh whatever threat you receive. Mm-hmm. But it's so much tough talk going on the internet that's different from back in the day where you see Brother El Haj Malik El Shabazz literally peeking out his window with an assault rifle and a photographer
Right.
taking a picture because he was worried about his safety, not for no photo op. You know, Coretta Scott receiving all kind of calls, you know, talking about the murdering of her children. I mean, I could go on and on with the long list of back in the day. Creditable threats versus scare tactics. So you got to be careful now because, I mean, you know, there's a fine line when a scare tactic could be a creditable threat. To answer your question, I mean, I've had death threats. I've had folks that wanted me to document things with the FBI that I did not. I walk so unapologetically and confidently in my purpose, especially considering the walls and the places that I've been in and the walls and places I'm in now. I'm not some overly tough dude, but when I'm out in the public on functions, I make sure my security is super tight. I've done that since day one. It just comes from where I come from. It has nothing to do with this social justice, just by being smart. But it is creditable. But there are some that like to exaggerate their level of danger because they feel it makes them a bigger person.
I want to know how much time does it take out of you and what else you have? All of it?
No, I mean, again, I'm a husband, father, but you got to move. You got to be proactive and reactive. Reactive when things happen, you have to mobilize around them. Proactive so you can try to minimize some of the reactiveness. All right, proactive as far as changing some of the legislation. I'm all about attacking the ink. We attack the ink and we minimize either the tragedies themselves or the length that they exist. But I'm also one that got to decompress, and I got a lot of cats that again you wouldn't even know their initials. But they some cats that you know are from around the way. Cats I grew up with. I got an old soul, old spirit. My grandfather was a very well respected businessman before he passed here in Atlanta. So there's a lot of the juke joints and speakeasies of old schools that I still like to surround myself with.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you because I normally like to take it back early. How did you become this person? Because I have my own stories of growing up in Macon, Georgia, and having my white classmates say, I don't want y'all niggas in here, and hearing the stories from my parents and my grandparents being a sharecropper, my grandfather, and hearing him have to address a young white boy as sir, and hearing about my uncle having to cross to the other side of the street if a white woman walked that way. What experiences or what part of your family made you who you are today, made you want to be an activist? What was going on when you was growing up that turned you into this man that we see?
There's no one in my family quite well that would be labeled an advocate. I grew up in sports, always played football, basketball, really football, track, played basketball as well. But being a young black man, and I've always been outspoken, but you know, not like, you know, folks who only been knowing me for the past 15 years, you know, I wasn't always on a bullhorn and nothing like that. But as a young black man and one, sometimes because of one's confidence, you have some run-ins that, you know, those who go along to get along just don't have. So it wasn't really until I went to prison or just getting thrown in federal effing prison for 30 months for something you didn't do will pretty much tweak you, especially at age 25, 26. That experience is where my life's journey started as it relates to advocacy. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't get in there and say, oh, hey, yeah, this is... I started submitting grievances on things that were incorrect. I saw how us inmates, which we prefer convicts, were being penalized by the various rule books in the institution, because the feds, they like to ship you around, and they sent me out to Kentucky. But I started noticing things that staff was not doing as it relates to this rule book, and started submitting grievances. Well, needless to say, that didn't go over well with the powers that be in the prison. And that is what really initiated me or contributed to me being thrown in a hole for for 13 months, a year and a month. Even grievances submitted against the warden herself, who was a Black female at the time, in a white male-dominated, not just geographical area of Ashland, Kentucky, but profession as far as federal prison. So she was tougher than tough, right? I think Ice Cube said it best years ago: Black police showing out for the white cop, right? So those grievances, those experiences, the unjust treatment, and being a fan of the Black Power movement, all that came together in my mid-20s. And again, like I said, I just wanted to be a part of a group. I never expected, my closest, my mother, my folks around me, I had other dreams and aspirations of being successful as far as in business and other areas.
So did your parents not at all teach you to be aware of who you are as a Black son, or just teach you to take pride in your history? Did you get that from home?
Yeah, well, I come from, my mother had me when she was 15. I've never met my biological father until 3.5 years ago. Never even saw a picture of him until 3.5 years ago. Raised by my grandparents, my mother, my grandparents, my aunts, and my uncle. So I grew up in like a village. Conceived in Naples, Italy. My mother was born in Naples, in Naples, Italy, because my grandfather was 21 years in the Navy. My family has a weird mix of our roots along with some Italian culture. Our own. My grandfather was involved with the Masons out in Napoli. I say all that to say there's a weird mix of business, street, military, in our culture. That how I grew up. So a do for self kind of, but not a combating of the system. I didn't grow up in that, and I believe because the 15 years that my mother lived in Napoli, along with my family, of course, I was born in 74. So 74 minus 15 years, you've got the Black Power Civil Rights Movement all in one. And my family was in Naples, Italy at that time. So, it's movements going on all across the world with Black folks, but just as far as coming up, it wasn't until I hit them prison walls that I see clear as day now. I didn't see it then, that my purpose was being shaped and formed. I hate that I had to go through that path. I can't speak about that without, speaking about losing my grandmother and being screwed due to red tape for why I couldn't go to her funeral when I was incarcerated. But my incarceration is a whole other story. I have no problems with discussing it, but when I hit that hell on earth and witnessed the belly of the beast from the inside out, then sat and talked with him and got schooled by all kind of old school players, and I actually tutored brothers and sisters, ain't no sisters in there, tutored brothers when I was there, and really got to know people and their circumstances and the evilness of this well-oiled machine known as the prison industrial complex that was fueling me for what now. That's why I don't run out of fire, or I don't run out of steam when I have an opportunity to be a voice for the voiceless, because I truly feel like I came from those crevices of the system where people get thrown away and forgotten. So I don't take that shit lightly.
And that's one of the concentrations your SOS group is for, is police reform.
A lot of folks don't think that's possible, since they are the derivative. They are the evolved version of the paddy rollers, of the slave catchers. Some don't feel like you can reform that. But yes, criminal justice reform, prison reform, focusing on the school to prison pipeline, prison industrial complex, as I spoke about. But the mentorship and the instilling of knowledge into the youth and being a bridge between generations is what, in my 47 years of age now, I'm starting to understand is a more powerful weapon. And plus the reception I get from some of the youngsters. Not everybody is able to have a certain level of respect, no matter what room they go in, depending on what generation that room is, or whether that room is Black Power or Deacon, Bishop, Civil Rights, you know. And once we understand the true jail, we all ain't got to be drinking buddies, but, you know.
Well, for the young people or anybody who may be watching them, may say, oh, I always wanted to be an activist. How do you ease into it? And I don't think you can really ease into being an activist, but how do you get started if you want to make a difference?
It's simple. Whenever you see something, speak up. I mean, it's really simple. Now you got to, you know, you have to be willing to deal with whatever consequences come from speaking up, you know. And a lot of times, I mean, to the youngsters, it don't take but one damn voice, and then that one voice turned into 15 because others wanted to say something. They just had the courage. You know, got to be more courageous out here. As we're moving in warp speed, as the Thundercats are, we also have to understand that there was a foundation that paved the way for our Black excellence that was targeted and destroyed by an orchestrated initiative by the government. We got to understand how powerful our blueprint is and get back to some of that as we are in a new era and doing tweaks to even our blueprint. But we can't act like there's not a blueprint that doesn't exist. And to the old head, hell, you got to be more receptive to how fast these youngsters are. You got to understand you're speaking, you're talking to a person that is just armed with all kind of damn knowledge, some that's useful, some that ain't. We just got to get a better understanding. And there's some things that are on the horizon. I'm looking forward to our first meeting, October 7th. Fulton County Commissioners, the Board of Commissioners, has done something historical. That's in line with LA County out in California. That's in line with Asheville. That's in line with Harvard, University of Virginia, Georgetown. What I'm speaking about is specific reparations for slavery. I'm just so stuck on that. But Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Arrington Jr., Commissioner Natalie Hall, authored legislation where there is a 7-board task force called Fulton County Reparations for Slavery. There's 7 members of the board. Each member is appointed by the 7 members of the commissioners board. Well, there are 4 African Americans, and there are 3 Caucasians. Anyone who knows about politics, there are certain numbers that are needed to have a legal meeting called a quorum. And for this board, it's 4 members. Now, this board was erected in April in Fulton County, Georgia. It took us until 2 weeks ago to finally get all 4 African commissioners to submit and confirm their appointment. So I was the first one that was confirmed. We now have 4, which gives us the right to have a legal meeting. Ironically, but probably translucent, one can tell the 3 Caucasian commissioners, unfortunately, have not appointed anyone yet. Here in the A, we say one monkey don't stop no show, and that stands for 3 of them too.
Yes.
You know, so I'm glad to be able to say that. I'd love to be able to come back and tell you what, you know, this task force is tasked with what can we do on behalf of Africans who are victims of the transatlantic slave trade here in Fulton County. And we have clear examples of what's taking place. I mentioned LA County, I'll say that'd be done real quick. Since LA County is a county, the head of that county discovered that a beachfront property, a beachfront resort, was owned illegally by the county and gave the property to the rightful owner, which was a descendant of slaves. If LA County in California got some illegally owned property, what you think Fulton County, Georgia got? So I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's October 7th. Then we have some initiatives where we go around to different high schools. So we'll be coming to Westlake High School on October 25th and doing a symposium for the youngsters there. And there's just so much going on right now. I mean, everybody should be engaged. You know, you said if you want to become an advocate, you know, everybody can be an advocate. You see something, speak up. Research various organizations. I encourage folks to join different organizations. You don't have to do that, but trust me, if you're just getting into this thing, you want to be in a position where you could be plugged and played, so to speak. Just make sure you ain't played literally now.
Exactly.
Some organizations, you know, but some folks are doing some good work, and so all they need is numbers every weekend, you know, and they can put you in certain areas of concentration. So we just got to get more engaged. We got to get more passionate. We got to get more enthusiastic. We have to continue to relearn and not to regurgitate the same ills of former generations as it relates to a false sense of what's known, a false sense of ideology, or a false sense of what's known as white supremacy.
What is a good day for Marcus Coleman, the activist? Because as you just pointed out, there'll be things you work on that may take a very long time to get done, but you have to see it through. So when you lay your head down at night and you just let that sigh out, what makes a good day for an activist like yourself?
I mean, if hell, my son the other morning at 15, took his laundry basket, separated his clothes, and threw them in the washing machine. I turned to my wife and said, "You tell him to do that?" She said, "No, I thought you told him." I said, "No, that was a good ass day." I mean, you know, it's straight up. So, you know, there are moments, the family keeps me grounded. I know my mother would probably have a mother who wants to hear from me more, doesn't understand sometimes I'm being pulled in 1,000 different directions. But a good day is hearing something about family. A good day is hearing, victories for other families. My family has suffered tragedy, has suffered loss, young lives lost, without any kind of criminal retribution. I literally found, today is his birthday, so I have to mention Corey Ernest Jones. 2 years ago, I found my little cousin, like a little brother, like a little son to me. I found him dead in his bedroom, after dealing with 10 years of his oldest brother being a victim of hit and run here in Georgia and never receiving any justice, which we changed the law in this state and named it after his older brother, CJ's law, giving more power to victims of hit and run and pedestrians and cyclists. So I took that pain and turned it into policy. But today is the birthday of his younger brother, who I found. So I'm careful. I told you, I said one of my strongest mentors wakes up who's 84 every morning and says he's pissed every morning. So you said what happens when I lay my head down at night? You know, we got so far to go. I'm honored to be in the position that I'm in and have the voice that I do. I do know that a lot of times I say things that need to be said that others don't or won't or they should, but they just don't. I pride myself.
Well, real quick, I'm asking you this because you made a video where you said, like, after the George Floyd trial, that you saw people applauding and celebrating, but don't. You said don't, because justice is something that should have been served. So, in saying that, I just want to know, is there ever a time that you could just kind of say, I'm doing a good job, celebrate a small victory, or is it just because your work is never done, you don't feel safe doing that?
I just don't like when folks celebrate at halftime. I mentioned earlier with the case of Jamarian Robinson is great. There have been others, Ariston Waiters, older case, where we went to 2 different grand juries. Hell, Baby Boo Boo, that was probably my biggest case, a Laotian and white toddler who was a victim of a flashbang being thrown into his playpen in the middle of the night while he's sleeping and blew his face and chest open at 19 months old. That case got exposure from Russian TV, French TV, British TV. That case was on 2020 in the doctors because of the militarization of the police department with the device that they threw in there. Again, I told you about state laws being changed. I mean, listen, I don't really know how to answer that question about celebration. I don't know how to celebrate till the game is over. And, collectively, we far from the game being over. Collectively, though, I do think we are in one of the strongest eras of momentum. But I told you those agents, those distracting agents that we talked about earlier, the day we get the reparations bill signed or the executive order, the day we get executive orders on policing, what pisses me off again is families get pimped and so many politicians sway folks with these nice labeled bills when you don't have to go through that process of having Congress fight it out. Sign the damn shit executive order like you did for the Asian community and the Pacific Islanders. When I know that we are in the condition we're in, it has a lot to do with it being self-inflicted. It's kind of hard for me to celebrate, but I'll close here. I don't act like I'm some stick in the mud. Like I said, I've got folks that I'm careful, and cool with, who see more of what would move me. I just feel like because of the position I'm in, to be able to be on your show and other areas of in the public, I just take this time. This time is very crucial, and I take it very personal. So I try to just spit out as much real as I can. So the celebration, I can't even elaborate too much further on that because we ain't won shit collectively yet.
I'm gonna tell you, brother, I want reparations, and it's not over after that. I want the history books rewritten. I want the archaeologists who lied about what they found. I want them to be taken to the trial, because there's a lot of them that seen black faces when they wiped off the sand. They seen black faces and they said they weren't black. I want them to be put on trial as well. I want everything back that they owe us, and I want more than that as well. And I want it. I want it. I want it now.
And you ain't gonna stand for the bullshit that was so long ago. Because again, if you truly screaming Black Lives Matter, which I don't like, show it in legislation, in policy, in them dineros, them ducats, that cheese, that cheddar, that lamb, that green, and then we can talk.
And Jewish people never have to feel bad for talking about their plight. But whenever we open our mouth, we're supposed to feel like, oh, you're not supposed to say that. I've been watching all the documentaries about the Holocaust. and it was horrific, but they get to talk and speak on it, and they're not judged like we're judged. They get to tell their story, and I don't know if it's because theirs was videotaped and ours wasn't, but it's just, when will we ever be free enough to be ourselves and to do anything that's okay for us to just do? That's what I'm talking about.
The Jewish community as a whole has more of a collective. I know we say a lot of times that Black folks ain't monolithic. Well, hell, maybe we need to be more monolithic. Now, of course, understanding we're all different, but we're all very much the damn same, right? And I think if we can start becoming more monolithic on core initiatives, such as the disparities economically, socially, listen, I think this country is ripe right now for righteousness. I really do. I think there's enough. I think there are generations that have died off. There's a generation, every calendar term, there's a generation dying off. But as we become more global, right? These old methods are being eradicated, but the problem is there are positions of power where there are gatekeepers, and we've got to remove that. At the same time, we've got to build our alliances with where we truly come from and our origin of where we come from. That's another thing I would like to present when we have our meeting about this reparations.
Let me ask you a question, because
let me just bring this real quick.
No, go ahead.
White folks, one of the things you talked about their monetary advantage, but they also have an advantage because they know their lineage, they know their history. The majority of us in these yet to be United States do not have that knowledge of our lineage. We don't even know what we're connected to, where our true origin is from. And not just land, not just money, but the knowledge of self, what reparations means and the linkage to our true lineage. That itself is going to be powerful for many once they have that info.
Oh my God. Yes, and when many of us realized that we were just right here the whole time.
Come on now.
I'm so paranoid, I don't even trust those DNA tests. That's how I'm paranoid.
Well, I feel you on that. And that's going to be one of the hurdles. I had a back and forth with my partner who's an attorney on that. I will just say this, for what I personally and others have planned, there has to be a document that can be used as legal proof for how you got here. There has to be legal proof on how your origin, say Nigeria, but you live in Atlanta, right? It shows that you are a victim of the transatlantic slave trade. We're not going to get this government to pay what it owes without that documentation. And we're going to have to collectively, in my humble opinion, we're going to have to put it out of our mind about, I don't trust them on that DNA. Let me give you an example. I want to throw people on this because I might not have that much time. I'm not saying that we give our DNA over to the federal government. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is, I think that there is an opportunity here for us to use our HBCUs as collection centers all across this country. I think there's an opportunity here for us to erect and appoint a medical board of our choice that would be responsible for overseeing this large collection of DNA. Now, we always gonna have folks that are gonna be distrustful. I get it, but I'm talking about the government fronting the bill for this initiative that would be step one to the connectivity of the transatlantic slave trade and that connectivity to that land, to that 40 acres and a John Deere that's old now. So there's a lot of folks that I've met with, a lot of folks have ideas on it, and I've welcomed folks to please send stuff, but I really feel like I have that step one because we're going to have to legally bind them. Because one of the things is, well, who's going to be eligible? We can easily decipher who is eligible for reparations of slavery based upon our origins, where we're from based upon our original origins of the globe rather than where we're from right here in the United States.
Yes.
So I know it ain't easy, but people have laid the blueprint, you know, and so all we have to do is come and give our tweaks and use our influence politically. Again, 7 commissioners in Fulton County, Georgia. Fulton County is the largest county in Georgia. There are 4 African commissioners and 3 Caucasians. So my thought process is to use, and we're not the first in the country, you know, to tackle reparations. We are amongst some of the first. Use our political power and influence on a state level, county level, municipality level. Get what we want on those levels. Combine all that together as the big shebang to slap the federal government across the face with nothing but truth and tangible victories. And they gotta pay what they owe. There's no way around it.
Well, I hope I get to see it.
Think you will, sister.
But I'm gonna be one of those people that they're gonna say, well, y'all still ain't satisfied, because I'm not gonna be satisfied.
Well, you should be satisfied because that's the starting point for reconciliation.
But so, like you said, it's halftime. So if it's halftime now, that's just third quarter. You still owe me, brother. Well, that still don't pay for everything that was done. That's the damn start.
True that.
That's a damn start.
And that's a start that our children don't have to worry about starting. Right?
Come on, look at everything that was taken from us. I mean, the Jewish people, most of the time, they have money in their family that they can give to their children. We ain't got shit.
Well, that's because that community controls a large part of the industry and the entertainment community. So
exactly. But every time we try to do some stuff, they want to tear our stuff down. So hell yeah, it's just the beginning for me. Yeah, it's just a start of what they should have been doing. I mean, Absolutely. Come on. You Absolutely. Fed my ancestors babies to alligators. That's just a start.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You took away out, you made it where we even have to question our religion. You made it where we have to question where are we from? We have to question every single thing. We never could feel just comfortable and safe.
I would humbly say that they gave us religion, but that's all. They put shackles on our feet and instruments of bondage on our wrists, but then stuck a Bible in our hand. But that's a whole other conversation.
I'm a little different with that now, because Christianity was in Africa. I'm a Christian, but hey, I'm very open to listen to other people's stories. But I do get what people mean. They definitely did change verbiage and all that, but I believe that truth never dies, and it's a lot of truth in the Bible. It's just too right to not be the truth. It was, if you think that they switched the Bible, I believe it was taken from what was real. If y'all don't believe the Bible was real, but I can't go too much against the Bible, because it just too much of it just hit you too hard. It makes too much sense.
I respect your position. I would say this. Masses of people have been murdered, enslaved across the globe. Wars, world wars, all in the underlying subject is religion. Religion is one of the most viciously divisive categories that we as human beings in society fall under. Anything that is that divisive should really be examined. And I just purposely feel, without stepping on anyone's belief, I think that religion has been the major controlling mechanism of human beings, and ultimately the destruction of society, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. So, no, but I know
I have my feelings about religion, and then there's my feelings about a personal relationship with God and understanding who He is. And And I have to
Understood.
say, a lot of times in religion, it's not the religion, it's the people who don't read in the spirit, they don't translate correctly, and they start to let it take on a life of its own, and they have it misinterpreted. Because not only did God say read the book, he said read it in the Holy Spirit. And when you reading it in and you just reading it as Marcus, I'm just reading it as me, you're not gonna get the message you're supposed to get. And so a lot of people don't go with that rule in mind before they open the book as well. I mean, it's some stuff in there that I have to get further counsel on. I have an uncle who's a bishop. I maybe something I don't understand, I don't get, maybe I don't agree with it. But for the most part, my father, he told us the truth. But I believe they had a little hand in, trying to just make everything seem confusing, trying to take a little bit of this and mix it with the truth. And, so yeah, I get it. But what I tell people is make sure you have that personal relationship with God. I don't care what else you question. Just know that he's real. Before you get out of here, I have to ask you this, because I got to ask somebody, what in the hell do you think happened to Sandra Bland? What happened as an activist? What do you think? And I don't know, can you talk about it? You're not a part of her case, are you? But what happened to her? Because I watched a documentary on her, and it's just, I can't believe her family said they saw no rush to get her out on bail. I mean, I understand them being broke. We all been broke before, but they saw no rush. I mean, my family just totally different. If I was in jail, they calling everybody for that $200, for that $500. And I'm not bashing the family, but just in general, what do you think happened? I mean, a lot of people thought the picture of her that was taken at the jail, she was already dead. I believe they killed her. But what are your thoughts?
Well, Brother El Malik said it best: the most unprotected, neglected, and disrespected person in these yet to be United States. I don't think he included yet to be in that, is the Black woman. Word is that she tied a number of Black, I don't know if they were Glad brand, Black garbage bags together and hung herself.
She didn't do that. Why are you gonna move? Why are you trying to move to a city for a new job and do that?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I'm being facetious. I know. As I'm laying out the facts, right? But a message to our community. Get your folks as soon as you can. I know there might be some that are tired because there might be some revolving door status going on. But get your folks, or at least let folks in the facility know that you're their folks, right? Meaning, don't let a person be incarcerated without there being some type of call from family, letting them know that we know that they're here and we're concerned about them.
Yeah, it was like no self-awareness. I'm thinking it's some people in my family, they get locked up. We already know we got to get him out. He gonna snap. Like he ain't gonna make it in there.
This is an opportunity, even though this started Sandra Bland's, not what happened to Sandra Bland. Yeah. But we got to be cautious about calling the police on each other.
Oh yeah.
You see over and over again these tragedies, and it's one of the family members that call. Listen, 9.8 times out of 10, if your loved one is having a mental issue, that's going to hype the police up even more. I'm just being honest here.
We've seen it.
I mean, so I know that some of the family members, and again, this ain't Sandra, they call and they think they're doing them a favor. But a lot of times we call out of fear, right? We call out of fear, and those first responders are supposed to be there to help us. But just be careful. And when your people get in those institutions, check on them as soon as you can. A message to the advocates. I told this to one of my mentees out here. If you're gonna talk it, you best be prepared to walk it. So be cautious of putting yourself in certain situations that could result in you being in certain institutions. One mentee, I ain't gonna even mention your name. Don't give they ass the bullets to shoot you with, especially if you out here making a lot of noise. You got to move strategically. But back to Sandra, I think Sandra is one of many cases that, because it's a Black woman, she did get some exposure. But Tatiana Jefferson, who was shot through a damn bedroom window, you talked about Breonna Taylor. What do they call the Black woman? A double damn negative. And how crazy is that? Because technically a double negative is positive. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to leave on a doom and gloom note, because I do like the engagement and the interaction that has been sparked from tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, viral video after viral video. But we see some areas of accomplishments and victories. So we just got to continue pushing. Time got us into this shit, hundreds of years of time. So it ain't going to happen overnight. But don't let these people derail the power of the unity. I talked about multi-generational, but multiracial as well. Don't just scream that Black Lives Matter. And again, remember, it has to, because all life comes from Black life. But don't just scream that shit. Let's get some Black life or some Black liberation movement legislation. I prefer that BLM acronym. Shame on us, those of us who are aging, those of us who are youngsters who have been engaged for at least a couple of years now. I'm not talking about like my mentor that's been out here 50 years. Shame on us if we don't continue pushing and force this administration who owes us, who looks like us, or half of it looks like us, but who owes us. Shame on us if we aren't holding their feet to the effing fire. We saw what was happening to our Haitian brothers and sisters at the border. Well, I got criticized because I said, well, what the hell are we running down to the border for? These are our people in these seats. That's a phone call away. That should be a lunch away. If we got to run down to the border and organize for that with this administration, then shit, reparations ain't gonna happen under this administration. We got to demand more. We've got to be more unapologetically upset and demand that we want things different and don't roll. And we got to exercise our political power.
Thank you, brother.
Sounds great. Sounds cliche-ish, but there are examples of victory and an avenue, a path to victory of what I've stated. So it ain't some pipe dream. We in a modern day Reconstruction era, so we're just gonna take everybody to speak up and speak out and make these folks start feeling uncomfortable who are just outright against us, because it's hell of a lot more of us than it is of them. It's simple mathematics. We apply simple math, we win.
Can we count to see you out there, one of those people fighting against these vaccinations? I heard it's gonna be protests popping up all over the country, people that's against the boosters and stuff, or you got to keep that top secret.
Oh no, I mean, I just spoke the day before yesterday. Shout out to that brother Rizza Islam. Really love that brother and his movement. Got censored. I think I'm gonna promote that brother. I ain't even promote my own handling name. But we're talking about the vaccination. It's funny. I have a good friend of mine. We used to coach together. And he's upset because of a game that's been changed. I'm making a point here, from a later time on Friday to an earlier time because of safety purposes, right? It's two black schools getting together. He's fired up, right? This is racist, coach. We got to do something about this. But woo. I use him as an example because he's one that also jumped on my social media, and we got a very respectful relationship, as one who supports the vaccination mandates, right? So I reminded him a couple of hours ago. He was like, man, this is messed up. I said, well, coach, let me just be honest with you. If they can mandate vaccinations and you support it, why the hell they can't change the time of a football game? We got to understand when things are being put in place as, once we get this amount of power, there's other levels that we can go. Don't get me wrong, the changing of a high school football game is probably not what's
No,
first
I
and
get what
foremost
you're saying.
on
If
on
like,
your listeners' mind.
I get what
But
you're saying.
my point is the mindset of that coach who would publicly defend a vaccination,
Mhm.
but then feel like it's intrusive or it's racist to change the damn game. We've got to be more educated and more unison when it comes to government orchestrated attacks such as this vaccination. So absolutely, I pride myself as one first and foremost being out there as one since December 2019. Has been in preparation for this biological attack, minus the damn experimental Operation Warp Speed vaccination.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Marcus Coleman. Just let us know if people want to contact you, where they can get in touch, your organization. Any final thoughts? Your time is now.
I appreciate it. I know I've been a little long-winded on some of these questions. Marcus T. Coleman, my Instagram, Marcus T. Coleman. I had a website for Save Ourselves that was up, but it's been down for about 7-8 months now. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to put bells and whistles or put it back up, or how I'm just, I like the way we maneuver. From there, there's other numbers I can give those out, but if you contact me, or maybe 678-590-2670. So Marcus T. Coleman, at Marcus T. Coleman Instagram, at 678-590-2670. Reparations update for reparations for slavery update coming from Fulton County. Various missions in high schools and supporting families who are still in seek of justice with this backed up criminal justice system court docket that's taking place now. So just be more engaged. Appreciate you, sister. Your spirit and stuff. I definitely feel like we're kindred spirits. If I had more time, I'd go into that a little bit more, but hopefully we can keep collabing and, connecting dots and just spreading the message and information for the people out there.
Yeah, I was going to call you and tell you, if you have an event or something, you feel like I need to be there, I can come film it. I have another segment, Kera Dangerous Outside. If I'm available, I'll try my best to make it. Just let me know, because I want to get out there and start doing more things like you as well. So just only a phone call, email away. I appreciate that.
We'll be on there's something on the horizon. I haven't done it since the damn pandemic hit, but I used to do an annual legal clinic where like over 15 plus firms come out and give free legal consultations. A lot of people even get their cases and stuff solved there. We were planning one right before this pandemic hit. So that's definitely something that I pride myself in, as far as starting that eons ago when I was with National Action Network. So I'll let you know about that, because again, that's a way for people to get their legal issues, if not solved in that short amount of time, at least put on the right path.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you continue to do the great work you're doing. I'm so happy to know that you're a Georgian, and I'm very proud of that fact. And just know it's some people like you out here that believe in what you're doing and want to see you succeed on a daily basis. And no problem. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today. And God bless you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, sister.
All right.